get a haircut on Saturday, but I hate my hair right now because I'm vain.
Well, I think you look pretty, Greg.
I don't know about that. I'm tired, yo.
Guys,
This is another anger management quote. I feel pretty. Oh, so pretty.
Pretty. I
I'm
feel
pretty and witty and
pretty
gay.
and I pity
And I
any
pity.
girl who is with me today.
La 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 la.
Here we go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Odd Testament podcast. My name is Ryan.
I'm Greg.
My name is Eric.
And this is the place where we
Much
dive
less.
into...
I like it. You're on top of it.
Yes, this is the place where we dive into the odd, strange, curious stories from the Bible. Whether you're looking for a fresh perspective on Scripture, you're here for a laugh, or you're exploring faith, you're in the right place. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. Thanks for hopping on. How we doing?
I'm so tired. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, didn't get enough sleep last night,
Yeah,
or
I
what?
bet.
I've been waking up. I went to Florida. My dad had some health issues, and so I'm down there. And I've been waking up. I was waking up at 4:30 there, so basically 3:30 my time. Apparently we're awake now, and you're on because you're around people, even though they're family and stuff. So I'm like trying to let's wake up. Let's yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good though. So, and I'm excited. Man, I'm excited. Are my eyes open?
I remember at one point, Greg, I remember at one point you telling me and my brothers that you could sleep anywhere because of like your time in the army, because there's so much like you were always moving, always having to do something. It was like, all right, get your rest, and you could you like trained yourself to like fall asleep wherever, whenever, however. There was one in a Humvee that you used to tell a story about.
Oh, yeah.
About falling asleep. What is that one again?
You get tired enough. Well, there were two. One in basic advanced training. We were on at a firing range inside, let's just call it a tank. Otherwise it gets into too much detail. But while the tank was firing, fell asleep. And you're just so tired. And then there was a time we were doing some training out in the Middle East, and we had been up for about a day and a half. And somehow my lieutenant kept staying awake, but I was driving a Humvee, and whenever we'd stop, I'd just kind of lean over against the window and fall completely asleep. And at the time we were also at the training we were doing, we were in full chemical gear. So I'm in full chemical gear.
Yeah.
Probably completely dehydrated, and so I'm guessing I probably died for a little bit and then woke back up. But yeah, you get the among the things they say is sleep when you can. So that's it. So it gets but also I was like a low level guy, so I had nothing to worry about. I didn't have to think, didn't have to plan, I just had to do what I was told, and so that level of almost no stress because you're not planning anything. Planning stress is different than all other kinds of stress. It's constantly in your head and things like that. So anyway, that's what's there. So back when I was a superhero, does everybody relate?
Yeah. I was never a superhero, Greg.
You are one right now.
Right now, oh man, I didn't even know. What's that?
Every
Ed Helms
parent's a
saying
hero.
in the office? Good old days. I'm in the good old days right now, apparently. So.
You are living in the great America that has been returned to us.
Oh my God.
It's great again, huh?
How about that list?
Well, Eric's clearly uncomfortable.
Well, I've been yeah. Anyways,
Yeah,
I
exactly. That's the only thing you go, okay, I'm gonna offend somebody, so I'm just gonna go. Anyway, I'm
yeah
just making fun of something. Hopefully everybody thinks that's funny.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't
yeah.
have any opinions. I'm a neuter.
That's the hard part is I have quit joking about
Yes.
certain things going on
Mhm.
because I'm
Yep.
like I don't even find it funny anymore.
Yeah.
It's not even like even the ironic jokes are just not funny anymore.
Yeah.
And that makes me really sad that I can't make fun of stupidity anymore. Like because
This is
people
my defense
genuinely-
mechanism. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So-
Exactly. This is how I cope.
To kind of make the point a little bit, and this is not like an endorsement. It's crazy that I have to say like to throw out the
You're good.
disclaimers.
Yeah,
right?
we're with you.
So Shane Gillis hosted
Yeah.
the ESPYs, I think, this week
Yeah,
or
I saw
last
that,
night or
yeah.
something. Did you see this? And the joke he made about
I
you know,
didn't see that one, but
Was that the
something
Epstein
about
joke?
No, it was
Oh,
so
okay.
it was something about how Trump wanted to organize a UFC fight on the White House lawn or
Yeah.
something like that. And he said
Yeah.
the last time he organized a fight, Mike Pence almost died. You know, talking about the January 6th insurrection. And the crowd was kind of like, "Oh, can we laugh at this?" You know, it's kind of like, "Ha ha ha ha." ha.
they're all
I
like,
don't really
we're,
like
we're
Gillis.
rich.
Yeah.
We're rich athletes. We can't laugh
Yeah.
at the fact that we're getting subsidized. Like that's who we voted for.
Mm.
I've never been a fan of his comedy, and then I saw a few clips of it, and I'm like, oh, that is super dark, super like everybody hears it and has to make a decision.
Mhm.
But because it's so awkward, and it's like
Yeah.
he's fully leaning into it, and it's weird because you're like, no, you know exactly what you're saying, and
Yeah.
we're all sort of aware of your political beliefs.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is true. So it's
Right.
like so true, it's funny, and then you go, wait a minute, it's so true, I'm uncomfortable now, and
Yeah,
yeah. So
dude.
I thought the
wild.
little stuff I heard, I was like, oh, you're living in that world. I kind of
Mhm.
like that. I
Yeah.
kind of Yep. He said, he said, and so I can't remember her name, 4-time WNBA All Star is here, and the camera panned to somebody, and everybody claps and stuff like that. And he goes, "No, I'm joking. That's my sister-in-law." And it wasn't the girl. She goes, I was banking on none of you knew who WNBA players were. It's just cold. It's like, oh my gosh. It's brutal and funny. You're like, if I laugh at that, then I'm making
Have you
like
seen
Shane,
okay,
man. I
this
thought
is-
you were kind of dull, and man, you're sharp here.
so he went through a time where he got canceled, right? He was on SNL for a while, and
Yep,
he was
yep.
too
He was on
extreme,
SNL for
like,
4 hours.
kicked him up. Yeah, kicked him off.
Yeah.
But he's been back to host since because he's like
Yeah.
blown up, you know. Have you seen any of the news anchor skits that he did
Oh.
with
Yeah.
Kenan Thompson and two other ladies
Yep.
about like they start reading the headline.
One of yours.
Yeah. And then they try to guess which race it is or whatever. Like, oh
Yep.
gosh, that's crazy. So
Florida man. Oh, that's yours.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I,
okay.
Fight
if you
broke
can be
out at
funny,
the
I don't
Waffle
care what.
House.
Yeah, if you can be funny, I don't care what your political leanings are. Be funny, man. I want us to lean into some of this because
Yeah.
if it's ridiculous, it's ridiculous on both sides. I've talked
Yeah.
to one of my brothers is on that conservative side, but it doesn't matter all the details. But he's like, "Oh yeah, this," and he's not funny at all. But you're like, "Oh, okay, so you see it too? Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I'm not
it's-
just." Yeah. So anyway,
That's the split that's happening, right? So
Yeah.
no, just it's it's so hard. The dissemination of information is like a class that needs to be taught now, like in high school. Like I'm on a I would love to see some sort of class in my kids' high school about like how to tell like how to source authentic information and resources and stuff. Because so here I found this quiz, and I'll see if I can find it, and I'll bring it on here, and we could try it together. It may not be great audio, but it was like 10 images, and can you tell which one was AI created?
Oh yeah.
And so you look at the image, is that AI or not? And you go through all 10. And I did it, and I got 7 out of 10. I could notice what was fake and what wasn't. 7 out of 10. And then my oldest son, I had him do it, and he got 10 out of 10 right.
Wow. Nice.
And so there's something like that growing up in his generation, that they're so fed fake things that they know how to like read it, which is why you're seeing like young demographics like come back to church, come back to really, I would say, like sensibilities, like pull church out of it a little bit, but just good humanity.
Nice.
You know, like there's a whole bunch of like college students that are making up the like greatest efforts of like unhoused care and critical family care. It's mostly being done by young people and not trying to get like community hours. Just, this is what we do. Like, and I'm like, they see it, they just don't get to vote for it yet. Like they don't have the power to move political landscapes, but it's crazy. But yeah, the fact that he could read it, but then I don't know, I'm terrified of like, oh, I get 70% of the bull crap right. Like I get 30% of it wrong, and I got to be aware of that, you know? Yeah. So I want like everybody to take the test and go like, all right, 50% of the time you're going to be wrong. Like, or the information that's being fed to you, you can't tell if it's real or not. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. This is our getting to know you question, right?
No, I had something else, which isn't going to take this long, and it's not really as interesting. But on the opposite end of this discussion, I had this thought before we got on today. I'm like, no one under 25 ever needs to have a microphone in front of their face. I was watching this video of these ladies are on a podcast, and I don't know if you guys know who Chip and Joanna Gaines are. You know, the Fixer Upper people from HGTV. They're super popular, you know, professed Christians, all that. Well, they have a new TV show, and there's this big firestorm going on in the Christian community right now because they have a gay couple on this TV show. And he responded, Chip responded on X and said, and basically like these people have never experienced hate except for when they encounter the American church. And these like 20-something-year-old women with a podcast, right? They're like, it's a dark time in history when you call scripture hate, when you call the word of God hateful. I'm like, that's not what he said. And you don't understand what he's trying to say. Like I feel like for so long we've been living in this era where it was like all grace and no truth. I feel like the pendulum is swinging now to where it's like we're headed towards all truth and no grace. And we're
I would
headed
argue not truth, but
we're headed towards an era where we're gonna start pushing truth down people's throats, and we're gonna forget to love them, you know, and that just.
Yeah, and I'd pick a different word because it's not. Yeah, it's not a grace or truth. It's your rock solid opinion about something versus grace or your locked in opinion. I don't know what to call it, but it's not. Even if someone else is calling it truth, that's. If I tell you, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Somehow, listen. Somehow I'm right. So there's truth. There's truth for us.
There's truth. Yes.
there's the truth. I'm reading a book on mercy from Tim Keller right now, and he's breaking down the story of the Good Samaritan and what he kind of the intro topic in order to because the whole concept of mercy is in the framework of grace. Mercy without grace is just pity. And I guess if you don't have grace, it's good to show pity towards people that don't have something, but it's ultimately useless because they're going to get in that situation some form or another again, without grace. But he talks about the fact that truth gets in the way of you providing mercy when it's needed most. He goes to the credit of the religious too that come by. He goes, to their standards, they should not help him. He might die. He might be dead. I'm not even close enough to tell. Like, I have to get away. This is the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
Was to move away. Like in the truth understanding of it. What else can I do? Maybe he deserved it, who I'm not beat up. I'm a good person. So maybe the person who gets beat up, maybe they deserved it. And he goes, all of it becomes completely irrelevant to the fact that you have a moment to provide mercy. And that becomes the most important thing to do in that moment, more than any other thing that you could give, provide. Even if you had the saving power, the most important thing to do is provide mercy. And this is then modeled in every healing that Jesus does.
Yeah.
Immediately provides mercy, then presents truth.
Yeah.
So
And
anyway,
Romans doesn't
topics
say,
for later.
Yeah.
Romans doesn't say it's your truth that leads us to repentance. He says it's his kindness that leads us to repentance. It's his mercy, it's his grace. Not that truth doesn't matter. Truth 100% matters, but will people hear it if it's not filled with grace and mercy, So
Yeah.
100%.
all right, guys, shut up.
Know you.
Guys, shut up.
Know you.
You guys know what it's time for.
Gotten to know.
It's time for getting to know you.
Getting to know you. Getting to know you. Getting to know you. Getting to know you.
Okay, so this one will be. I feel like this one will be really quick. But being a fat guy, and being that I love food, I wanted to ask you guys, what is your perfect last meal? If you knew I'm gonna die on this day, and you knew you could the time was coming, and you get one meal before, what is your perfect last meal? I mean, talking appetizers, drinks, entree, dessert, like all of it. Like what's your ideal last meal?
Do you have anything queued, Ryan? Because it's going to take me a minute to
Sure.
to think,
Yeah, I can go first.
I want to answer thoughtfully.
So mine isn't. I don't think
This is
super,
worth consideration. I need to figure out my
Yes.
truth.
Yeah.
so that I
So
can share
so mine isn't like super extravagant, things. Like I feel like some people just,
Yeah.
let me get the most expensive things I can get. I'm like, nope. For me, an appetizer, give me a good basket of mozzarella sticks and marinara to kick off my meal. I love mozzarella sticks. I'm like, yes, give me that. That's how I'll start my meal.
Yeah.
And then I'll have a good loaded baked potato with probably a ribeye,
Ooh.
bone-in ribeye.
Okay.
like a tomahawk.
Fantastic. And then I don't know, probably some sort of some sort of rice pilaf with it, or wild rice, something like that. But
Rice pilaf.
the baked potato has to be loaded. It has to be. So, and I'll enjoy that. I do. So this might be a sin to some people, but I do enjoy A1 steak sauce with my steak.
Like how much?
The steak. What's that?
On the side that you dip in, or that you pour over the thing?
I pour a very little bit over. I don't dip it. I pour just a thin strip down the center, and that's it.
I'm trying to decide if I'm judging you more. How's your steak cooked?
Medium rare.
Okay. All right. We're okay.
Yes, medium rare for sure.
So it already has all the flavor you need.
I don't know. But I just like the A1.
You like the A1? Okay.
I like the
It,
A1. Yeah.
Do you taste the steak before you put the A1 on?
What's that?
Do you taste the steak before you put
Oh yeah,
A1 on?
100%. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Absolutely.
So,
This is good.
and
I
it's-
can get behind you then. Yeah.
I
He's
also
dying, Eric.
I also like
Sorry.
what's up?
You're dying, and we're judging you.
Yeah.
You're not dying.
There's things
right?
you can't have mercy about, though. You can't just be like, "Oh, I just drench it in ketchup."
Yeah.
You don't deserve steak if you're covered in ketchup.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's
Well, I like
crazy.
it well done. Well, that's why you want stinking ketchup on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why you're dying.
That's crazy. My steak also has
And
to
he
have
lost.
yeah, right. Mushrooms and onions for me to eat with it on the side.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the entree. Oh, fantastic! And then for dessert, I want an entire. Remember, I'm dying, so this isn't going to matter to my waistline. I want an entire chocolate stampede dessert
I don't know what
from
that is.
Longhorn Steakhouse.
Okay.
You guys know what that is?
Mm-mm.
It's
I know what
two-
Longhorn Steakhouse is.
Yeah,
No.
so they have this chocolate stampede. It's for like 4 people, but it's 2 humongous pieces of chocolate mousse cake with ice cream on the sides, and like, it's fantastic. I'm like,
Nice.
I'll take that for myself if that's my last
Yeah.
meal. So,
Yeah.
and then to drink, I want the biggest cherry vanilla Coke Zero that I can get. That's my last.
Ooh, from McDonald's because the Coke there is made different.
Yep. For sure. For sure. That's my last meal.
Just hits different, bro.
That's a good one. I mean, it hits different. Yeah.
All right. What about you guys?
I am going
Do you have one?
way on the other side, like complete trash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do one or the other. One's a little bit fancier, but not a ton. The one I would probably go to would be a box of Kraft mac and cheese with tuna and hot sauce. Just that.
Yeah.
What?
That's heaven.
It's
Yeah.
for me. It's absolute comfort. It's you can't reheat
It's
it
home.
because it tastes like garbage. That Kraft mac and cheese reheated,
It
it's
solidifies
just
like
garbage.
concrete.
It does. It's like a McDonald's shake melted, and you're like, what is this made of? This isn't dairy. This is no wonder the machines don't work. They're rejecting this god awful thing. So I really enjoy that. It's so simple to make. It's so satisfying. It's the other thing that I might consider, but since I would have to make it, I that's why I probably lean away from it. I really like the gumbo that I make. And it's also comfort food. It's just so good.
Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's
10
remarkably
out of
good.
10. But you could
Yeah.
build, it's one of those meals you could build a restaurant off of.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. I want to change my side. I said rice pilaf. I
Yeah.
want a side of beef fried rice.
Okay.
It doesn't go with the meal typically, but that's what I want. So,
it kind
Yeah.
of,
Have you ever
you're
had
you're
Wagyu,
getting
by the way?
the steak and then
what'd you say, Greg?
Have you ever had Wagyu?
one time.
I haven't. I have not. I'm not that rich.
A high level
Yeah, just
one.
one time before.
I want to call it a W5, whatever it was. It was one of the really top of the line Wagyus. And it was like a different thing. I can't, it's technically a steak, but it totally different thing. But
Wow.
anyway, yeah, those are mine.
Cool. Eric, what about you?
This is really difficult. I think I know my main, but I don't know if I know what, and I don't know if I have an appetizer. So I'm gonna skip an appetizer. I would do the salmon and steak from a hibachi restaurant.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah.
and the whole experience. I want them to come and do the little smoke onion volcano and flip an egg into their hat and toss me a shrimp. Like I want the whole thing. But there's what like the way they make that like on their grill top, it's the best. Like it is whatever level of MSG they put into that
Right.
is
Exactly.
perfect. And I love it every single time. And then I would get that. That would be I don't think I need an appetizer or anything before that. And then dessert, I would love like a homemade apple crisp with like a French vanilla ice cream. And like from we have like one of the nation's best ice creams voted, not just assumed, here in Omaha called Coneflower, and it's amazing. And they got some of the best stuff. So like a vanilla from there with homemade ice cream, and then to drink, I want a whole bottle of Pappy Van Winkle 12. Uh, it's like crazy expensive bourbon. That or there's a bottle called the Weller Millennium that I've recently seen, and on the shelf, and not like priced up. This is just what it costs to put it on the shelf is $7,000 for a bottle of bourbon.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Jeez.
that is there. No one should ever pay like that for like anything that is consumable in that way. But whatever. But a bottle of Pappy would be awesome. So I think that would be I would feel really satisfied, like that I got my full food experience in life in that.
Man, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome, guys. So in exactly 7 days, I'll be in the air on my way to Nebraska, and then we're filming live together. We're
Live,
recording
yeah.
live together on that Sunday evening, maybe or Sunday afternoon. Maybe that night we can get together and have our dream meals minus the $7,000 bourbon.
Are you
So-
planning on killing us?
Yeah.
No, just I mean, it
I
might
was
be the
gonna
last
say.
time we ever see each other in person. I mean, the three of us. I mean, you guys will see each other, but
Are you planning on dying?
no, I'm just planning on you guys being dead to me. So,
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. I could see that. Yeah.
so thank you guys for
Which
humoring.
is somehow worse.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You are. Want you to know I love you, but
Yeah.
you're dead to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're done. You're done.
Thank you guys for humoring me. Thank you for making me hungry now, and I'm on a 1,200 calorie a day diet, and I can't have any of this. So, there's that.
Are you on the same 1,200 calorie
Yes.
diet you were,
Yeah.
or is it? Did you?
Nope, it's the same.
You're still
thing.
on the wagon.
Yep, still on.
Nice. Good
Yep.
job.
And I'm
Wow.
dropping weight slowly but
Wow.
surely. So I'm now
Let's
like
go.
52 pounds down.
Congrats.
I dropped 5 pounds last week.
Oh,
Peace.
oh,
just by being in Florida. That's the new model.
Okay, so today, Greg, you have the topic, and that means,
Wait, what?
yep, it's true. You have the topic, and that means it's on me and Eric
It was almost
to
that.
play the 7 questions game to guess what you're talking about.
That's right.
So, I'll ask the first question. No, Eric, you have you ask the first question because the person who asks first get the last question too. So you ask the question.
Oh, pressure. Okay. Well, I mean, the easiest one to jump off of is this in
No.
the New Testament.
No.
Not New Testament. Okay, so Old Testament. All right. Assuming there's 2 options, and the 2 options are it's a narrative or it's a topic. Is this a topic?
No.
Okay, so it's a narrative in the Old Testament. Okay.
Okay. Narrative. Great. Is this in the Is this before David?
Yes.
Before David.
It's not Maccabees.
Okay.
Okay.
That would throw things off, wouldn't it? If I was like,
Yeah.
we're doing the Apocrypha.
Yeah. Book of Enoch.
It's crazy, by the way. Enoch's so hard to read.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like reading a QAnon post. You're like, what?
Time out for our listeners who may not be able to see the video or just haven't caught on yet. Eric's on a little bit of a delay. He's not slow. His connection is slow. So,
That said, he is not fast
Sorry.
either.
yeah.
He used to be a little quick, but he's not fast any longer.
Yeah. So, okay. So it is in the Old Testament. It's a narrative, and it's before David. Is it? Is it in the Book of Judges?
No.
Okay, that's 4 questions.
See, when you're doing this, by the way, guys, you have to
Okay.
know what it is, but not show any signs, not give any hints. This is about winning.
Yes.
Okay. Like you get to win if you find something that we can't guess. That's the.
Either way, yeah. If you can guess it,
Is
you
that
win.
what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is this after Moses?
No.
Okay.
Is that 5?
Okay.
Yeah, that's 5.
So we're in Genesis.
Yes. Does this have to do with Joseph?
No.
No, that's 6. Last question, Eric.
Oh, okay. So just go for it. What do I know about Greg and Genesis? Very could be an Abrahamic story. I'm trying to read his face on a delay. I am gonna go
You just somewhere.
Sacrifice of Isaac.
No. It is Abraham, though.
Okay. That was the last
what-
question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you stumped us.
Yep.
Yeah,
I win.
we
Banging
lost.
our heads in defeat.
And I'm pretty sure we haven't covered this. If we've covered this, then we're gonna have to start off completely over. The call of Abraham.
Oh.
It
Okay,
was,
so question, Greg.
Terrible.
You're talking about the call of Abram.
Yep.
Are you starting in Genesis 11?
Partially. We're gonna mainly talk, and the lessons will come from 12. But I have this need to set it up.
Yeah.
And it's not a huge setup, but it's still worth reading because people skip over it, or
Yeah.
it's easily skipped.
Yep.
The end of chapter 11. The end of chapter 11 should have been in chapter 12.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
Well, take it away. We're all yours.
cool. Anyone want to read Genesis 11? Isn't that one of the most awkward things you can ask at a small group? Who wants to read this? And the room's just silent because they don't know a question's coming.
Popcorn.
You got to set it up, and I never do. I was like, "Who wants to read this?" And it's mostly because otherwise I'm going to talk the entire time.
Yeah.
So
I can read if you want. You want me to start where? What verse?
yeah, 26, and then just to
26.
the end of the chapter. Yeah.
Yep. After Terah was 70 years old, he became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. This is the account of Terah's family. Terah was the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran was the father of Lot. But Haran died in Ur of the Chaldeans, the land of his birth, while his father Terah was still living. Meanwhile, Abram and Nahor both married. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai. The name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. Milcah and her sister Iscah were daughters of Nahor's brother Haran. But Sarai was unable to become pregnant and had no children. One day, Terah took his son Abram, his daughter-in-law Sarai, his son Abram's wife, and his grandson Lot, his son Haran's child, and moved away from Ur of the Chaldeans. He was headed for the land of Canaan, but they stopped at Haran and settled there. Terah lived for 205 years and died while still in Haran.
Right. So there's a ton of stuff. I mean, if we're doing Odd Testament, then we could talk about how old people are. But that's not the point of this information. Right before, so verse 26 there is the end of a list of different names and their ages and things like that. I'd say all of Genesis is framed in this is the account of a family and the head of that family, and this is their story. And so the account of Adam, this is the account of Adam's family, and then it moves on to the account of this and the account of that. The one-offs are Noah's not really in that. Well, no, I'm not going to say anything, but you see that in Noah. But there's a one-off with the Tower of Babel, in that it's just kind of a side story, but everything else is framed under these. And so 1 through 11 is its own thing. I think we've mentioned that, right? It's just written different. It's doing stuff. And however you want to interpret that, I don't really care. It's just different than the rest. So we hit this, though, the end of chapter 11, and it turns into, this is an account, and it does that same thing. But then chapter 12, it goes into what we think of as, what we more traditionally think of as narrative. And it's a more clear stories that we can follow and stuff. What's odd about this is that we go from this long period of time that, if we're honest, we really don't know. We don't know what it means that someone lived 700 years or that Terah lived 205 years. And relative to all the other ages, he's young. So did he die? How did he die? We don't know. Anything that says we know what it is extra biblical, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just may not have the historical endorsement, is really what we're talking about. So then I go, let's be careful then. And by historical endorsement, I don't mean that it is history. I mean that the endorsement, when they were coming with the list of books that they were going to say, this is our scripture, they didn't include some other possible writings, and it's not clear when those writings might have been actually written, because many things, like you mentioned the book of Enoch earlier, that doesn't mean Enoch wrote it. It means that it probably means that it was written in what they thought of as a style, and meant to have this type of impact in a prophetic sense, and so anyway, mostly irrelevant there, other than just information. By the way, I think I use information as, like, if we were preaching in the 50s and you just met me, I might start my whole sermon off, if I was doing it in a new place, and say, here are my qualifications. Here's the reason I'm standing up in front of people. We don't really do that much anymore, but I think sometimes I use information to do that. I go, I'm going to overwhelm you, and you're going to go, oh, he must know something. So,
Sure.
Or I'm just lying. I'm just making stuff up. And I say it with confidence, and you go, okay, he must know something. He says he reads books, and he's got a bunch in his background. So anyway, so that had no relevance. Did I tell you guys I'm tired?
Yeah.
So I'll try to stay on topic. That's why I have notes. But so this is what's going on. The reason it's odd is because now it dives into one guy and his family. And the rest of the everything from here through Revelation is the story of Abraham and his family, of Abram, who becomes Abraham, and his family. I think, do you guys agree with that summary? I mean,
Yeah, for sure. It all stems from this. It all stems from the call of Abraham. Yeah.
Yeah. So really important, people. If read a book, and I'm blanking on the name of it, but it was a helpful. Man, what is the name of that book? It's somewhere back here. I have a professor, a friend / professor, who he'll start mentioning a book, and he'll look behind him at this giant whole room of books, and then go and just grab that book. I'm like, how do you get that skill?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's Dan Lowry, by the way, from Pillar. He's just,
yeah.
It's so crazy to me and impressive. You're like, okay, I'll listen to whatever you say. And he's humble. He's just a great guy. Anyway, so now I've lost my train again. That's what I'm going to do today. So it dives down, though, into this one character, and the beginning of chapter 12 just goes this way. The reason I gave that little, let's read about Terah and his family, is to get us here. Oh, I know what I wanted to say is, so Terah's the father, and so this is the account of Terah's family. When Terah dies, Abram becomes the patriarch of that, the leader of that family. Lot, his dad is Haran, and this gets a little complicated for some that are trying to initially read it. Haran is also the place that they stop. Mm-hmm. So there's a guy named Haran and a place that they're at. And so if you're thinking about it map-wise, if my screen is just kind of, I don't know how, but let's say here, or near where my collar is Ur of the Chaldeans, okay? They've gone up to about my hairline, and we'll call that Haran. And where God tells them to go is to drop down into Canaan, which we think of as Israel, okay? But that land hasn't been, it's Canaan, it's still serving the same thing. The reason it's a gateway, it's a crossroads between Egypt, which is way over that way, but much further south, and Babylon, which is way up in here, okay? If that's does that make sense? Am I making,
yep.
So they go like 400 miles up here and then about 200 miles down into Canaan. And that's kind of the geography that they're working with, without sharing a map screen. And I used to not care about maps, and then I was kind of walked through them, and they've really helped. When I'm trying to remember stories, sometimes they become what's called a mind palace for me, in that I'm able to remember places and kind of see stories in those things too. So different people remember things different ways, but that's one of the ways I do it. So when Haran dies, Lot then becomes the head of his family underneath. Did I say when Haran dies and Lot becomes? Yeah, I did. He becomes the head of his smaller family underneath the family that Abram's now in charge of. Okay. So when Abram says, let's go here, Nahor, obviously, we don't know if he lives or not, but he stays up north, but the rest of the family all goes south. Okay. So why do they go south? It's right here in verse 12, or chapter 12, verse 1. The Lord had said to Abram, leave your native country, your relatives, and your father's family, and go to the land that I will show you. And this becomes, this little section next is kind of set aside in your Bibles, probably. It's probably indented more because it becomes a verse, meaning poetic in a sense, and signified as prophetic also. So God then says this way, I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you and make you famous, and you will be a blessing to others. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who treat you with contempt. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you. So Abram departed as the Lord had instructed, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all his wealth, his livestock, and all the people he had taken into his household at Haran, and headed for the land of Canaan. So, if we're doing a podcast called The Odd Testament, in addition to, is there anything else that you find odd here? In addition to, we just went from broad, here's how the planet started and everything started, to this one family. Is there anything in here that strikes you as interesting, and we'll see if it what we have on it.
Well, that he says, leave. The Lord just appeared to Abram, right, out of nowhere. We have no
Right.
data before this that says that the Lord and Abram have a relationship. He just appeared out of nowhere and gave Abram a command, and then right away Abram's like, "You got it."
Yep.
That's really strange, you know.
Yep, absolutely. Eric, anything for you out of that section? I know you just had a little bit of internet issue there, so I don't know if you're still adjusting.
Yeah, I think I just picked up the last of what Ryan was saying right there. That I've always really enjoyed the story of the Abraham's go mentality. Having come from our family that I think has been relatively, or to the best of our ability, obedient to that. We've tried to do that very similar. And then whenever we talk to people, and they're feeling that tension of God telling them to do something, and it feels in alignment with the path that God has already kind of put them on. It's not kind of like completely out of this left field, because we use the story of Abram to say the faithfulness in this moment. It works out. Doesn't mean it's not difficult. It's incredibly difficult. We this is our introduction to a very flawed man, but he is faithful and obedient. And and again, I'm sorry if I missed this while I was out of this, but to potentially a God he's not totally familiar with. There's going to be an awareness, there's a connection, but there is not what we would know as connection. There's not Israel, there's not law, there's not promise yet, there's not covenant yet. He is the start of it, and yet he has this obedience without the understanding of what the obedience is going to be followed through on based off of history. So much of our faith circles now can be really strengthened on the testimony of the long standing of God's church, and he didn't have that. And so that he steps out in this and believes, which is that really key part of this faith, is so admirable, and because it's in one sentence, it's so quickly skipped over, and then you immediately go into his story. But this tells you more about who he is and his belief in Yahweh than almost anything else in his life, coming right up next to the story I thought this was going to be with his son Isaac. So
Absolutely. And there's the same you're told, and he just does, which is just remarkable. And so while we don't have previous data, I almost have to assume, I soft assume, for those who are reading, who are trying to learn to read. And what I mean by soft assume is I go, to me, his response means that he had some connection to Yahweh before this. That's not something I'm going to preach. That's not something I'm going to build theology off of. That's something that I go, I would guess this. It also doesn't change anything. It doesn't change his actions. It doesn't, this opinion. And so again, soft assume for me, and you can call it whatever you want, but that's what I'm meaning by it. That it helps me kind of understand, because there are hard assumptions that people make and go, oh, he knew Yahweh, not at all, and God, this just showed up and happened. We don't have that data either. So even if you think that, soft assume that, so that it doesn't influence the way you're reading everything else. Go with the data that we have, and allow that stuff to impact us, because whoever the authors were, and especially if we believe that God led the authors to write, then we believe this is what God wants in front of us. And if he wanted something different, he would have influenced it differently, right? So allow yourself to be a little imaginative, so that you can kind of get into the story. Imagine, it might help you to imagine that you're in this situation in which you are now the leader of your family, and it doesn't matter if you're male or female right now, but you're the where we're going to go is where our family's going to go, and if there's disputes, they come to you for them to get judged and figured out and managed and things like that. You're in charge of a bunch of people, and Abram's well off already. We just know his livestock and all the people. That means he's got stuff. And it was less about currency, coins and things like that. I'd have to read more to lock in at what point that kind of stuff kicked in. But if nothing else, he's got a significant family, a significant amount, enough to handle this family wherever they're going to travel. And he's also what's called a nomadic herder, maybe even Bedouin kind of idea here. And so all of these things are wrapped into this character that we're talking about, this person that we're talking about. And so the Lord said to Abraham, leave your country, your native country, and your relatives, which is leave where you're at, leave Haran. Another version, I was going to do NIV, but people get wound up about the NIV, so I'll do ESV. It doesn't really matter. Now the Lord said to Abraham, go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land I will show you. And so that go is important. I think you could summarize this and I've heard it summarized this way, is go and be a blessing. And I like the idea that he doesn't say initially, go and be perfect, go and don't sin, and go and all these other things. The first thing he says is go and be a blessing. I've got you, and it's going to be okay. So let's sum up what we have so far in Genesis. God created everything, gave order to it. He's created people. He created us to rule on his behalf. We are stewards. If you're Lord of the Rings, Ryan, the steward of Gondor, as you know. If you're just hearing this podcast, I'm trying to influence. Ryan's never seen The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, which should have just been maybe 2 movies, but probably 1, turned into 3 and really abused it. But Ryan, like you know, and so I'm trying to influence him into watching the films. So, but Ryan's not quite saved yet.
Look, I've tried, okay? I fall asleep every time I try, okay? It's not my fault. Anyways.
This victim mentality, Ryan, we're going to have to deal with. Anyway, if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings and you're listening to this, you can repent too. You know, his grace is enough. Am I using that right? Okay.
Yep.
So, this state that he's in, that where he's called us to take care of the stuff, this is a Garden of Eden kind of ish, and I don't want to overdo that, but the people reject his ways, and violence happens, a social mess happens, and it culminates into this Tower of Babel where people are trying to connect themselves to heaven and in a way become gods on their own. It seems, and what we get there, I like this little sentence I wrote, at the tower, it is evident that nothing was learned from the flood. Everyone is sinful and out of harmony with God.
Yeah.
And so God is looking for somebody who will take it. And so we get this thing that said at the tower, we're going to make a name for ourselves. So, and this is kind of a soft ball question. Whose name needs to be, who's the father of everything, and it's their name, it's their story. We talked about this is the account of Abraham, or this is the account of Terah. Whose account is the Bible?
Yeah.
God.
This
Yeah.
is the account of God.
Mhm.
We are all subsequent. Every story is subsequent to him.
Yeah.
This is about him.
Yep.
And if you want to be um, a little cheesy with it, it's his story.
I'm
Doesn't
all
that make you
for
feel
that
warm,
cheesiness,
warm
man.
and cozy?
One day, side note, one day I'm going to do a series in church called History,
Mm,
His Story, and I'm just
his
going to do
story.
all the narratives of Scripture.
There you go.
It's
That'd
going to
be a
be
long
like a
one.
4-year long series.
Exactly, for real. It'd be a long
Yeah,
one.
for-
Yeah. Especially how slow you go. It depends. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let us make a name for ourselves, and it's that we will become famous. We will become known. God's thing is go do it so that I become known. I'm renowned. Um, and they also followed up, or else we'll be scattered. Versus God's command, which is multiply and fill the earth. Um, he's not saying don't have communities. He's just saying fill this place, occupy it. Um, Keep maintaining the order that was brought to chaos. Don't let chaos overcome this thing. Um, and thankfully, we've accomplished that, he said sarcastically. um, so, anyway, and so in the pursuit of making themselves famous, the end result, pushed by God, is they become less famous and confusion happens. And so this is where we're at. And so, where am I going here? So humanity is estranged from God by chapter 11, and now we have chapter 12. And if you're into this and you're kind of following it the way I'm putting it together, you go, okay, God's about bringing order. What's he going to do? What's next? And then we have Abram. And so again, in God's story, we have these highlighted characters in which we begin with Adam. You might include Noah in there, which is that book that I was talking about. She calls it like hangers that you put in a closet. Here are our main things that we can then build ideas from. So you can build ideas from Adam. We can build some ideas, covenant on Noah. Then we can build on Abram. Then we can Abraham. Then we can build on Moses, and then we can build on David, and then we can build on Jesus. And so it doesn't mean that there aren't really relevant. It's just these are good placeholders as we're trying to get a hold of the scope, the giant epic story, and really series of epics that we're working with and trying to understand. So for this one, we are going to assume that we know something about. We know Adam exists or is there. We know Noah happened in the flood, and now we're dealing with the next one, which is Abram and his significance and how this starts. And so that's what we're hitting. So the next question that I have. So then, who is Abram? What do we the out of the blueness and randomness? So what do we know about him? If I say he's a nomadic herdsman, what do you guys think? And there's not I guess you could say, well, he drove a Porsche. That would be wrong. But what do you think of what kind of hits? It'll be pretty much right.
He's a rancher. He's
Okay,
yeah.
great. What would be a difference between a rancher in Texas versus this type of ranching?
So I guess like a rancher in Texas probably has like a home base, a place where he keeps the herd and they eat
Right.
at the same place, all that. And here
Right.
he's nomadic, so they're moving around.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the first
Absolutely.
biggest difference. So
Yeah, absolutely. I would say a simplified version of it, 100% correct. Just summing it up, a rancher in Texas is connected to their land, and their animals are connected to the land. And you might even go. I don't know a ton about it, so if someone totally knows, it might be about the brand too. That maybe they're side by side, but there's something about it. They're not moving around, even if it's a large space and the animals need that space. They're not moving to Ohio next year.
right.
So the nomad part means what? It's that,
Yeah.
right? That they're traveling and they're going from why would they travel?
Trade. I mean, they're
Trade, great.
Yeah, going place to place.
Yeah.
Also, the non-permanency of land has some benefits, and that, like, yeah, you're not paying for specific places or anything like that. But yeah, I don't
I
know.
also think probably like seasons of drought and all that like probably changes the landscape for animals to feed and stuff like that. So I mean,
Absolutely.
obviously they don't have irrigation systems to water the grass and all that. So like, you know,
Right.
they got to go where the
Abs-
food is. So
Yeah. These aren't city dwellers,
right.
Yeah.
right? Um, uh, does this mean that there's no laws? This is kind of a side note. I'm just thinking out loud. Um,
No, it's something we talked about whenever in the story of the the angels, you know, visited Abraham
Yeah.
and Sarah,
Yeah.
Abram and Sarai, that there is there's a welcoming, there's an understanding of bringing in travelers and care and all this stuff. The thing that I don't know that maybe you can answer then is if that is a written or an unwritten. Like, is it just kind of like a yeah? Is that something that people just assume, and this is how we all take care of each other out here? Or
Yeah.
there obviously, I guess I would say, hopefully say obvious. There's not an enforcement outside of an army, so unless you're in another person's land, which we see some examples of this where they're entering into Egypt, and they have to acknowledge the powers that are in Egypt, and there's at least an understanding of that. But when they're out in the wilderness, it's kind of dog eat dog potentially, you know.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. So there seemed to be, while maybe laws weren't written down, and even if you, for people who are interested in this, the Hammurabi kind of law and stuff, it's probable that the only people who were aware of it were people rich enough to read,
yeah,
and the king, who were able to put this down. But just for anything to function, you kind of have to have agreed upon ideas, right? That stealing across the board then is going to be wrong, even if but it has to be enforced by someone who's strong enough to enforce it. And
right.
it's not going to be enforced by a government. It's not going to be enforced by police. It's going to be enforced individually. And so, actually, some of the law that we end up with that Moses presents is how to manage that enforcement. Because if you, whether intentionally or unintentionally, kill a member of my family, then there's revenge that needs to happen. It's actually equity has to happen. If you've
Uh-huh.
taken mine, I either have to get yours or yours has to be taken away so that we are in relatively the same place. You have to return me to the same state that I was before you injured me.
Yeah.
And so if we ever get into reading law and stuff, that's among some of the important things. But anyway, that's a kind of a tangent, but just to kind of get a scope of what we're talking about, and it's way off the application that we'll eventually get to here, and I need to speed up some. But so if you're thinking I won't go long on this, but it says the Chaldeans. This is probably just a designation so that we know which essentially. And
Yeah.
this particular before they were in Haran, was near probably where the Tower of Babel happened. It's down near in what we currently call Iraq, near the Tigris and the Euphrates. This idea of moving out from Eden, from that space. If you think of, it's kind of getting into application already, but if you think of and that tower and everything else as anti-Eden, this is Abram moving away from an anti-Eden. If you're looking for metaphor here, again, a little early to start doing metaphor, but this is some of the idea. And so now God meets him and gives him instruction. So the attempt at Babel was an attempt to recreate this mountain that connects us to God, the high place in a sense, and a direct contradiction to being kicked out of Eden. They're trying to fix that problem on their own, but God now shows up and says, "Here's how I'm going to fix this," in His story. And so, anyway, so this is some of the move. Anyway, I like this. This is from a quote from Dr. Drew Johnson from a book called The Universal Story, Genesis through 11. And he says, everything Ham's descendants, and this is going back to Noah, everything Ham's descendants tried to gain through the city of Babel, God gives to Abram. Though they wanted to find security by hunkering down together, God promises protection to Abram, even though Abram is always an immigrant on the move. He struggles with trusting God, and he's constantly exposed to deadly dangers. There just is. It's a bunch. And though Babel attempts to not be scattered, God forcibly distributes them as a solution, confusing their languages to ensure a forced migration sticks. And so God's saying, nope, this is a fundamental thing. When does God step in? And it's when the fundamental plan is being pushed against. So back on Abram, what's so great about, I think this is just what's great about Abram at this point?
His ability to obey.
Okay.
That's what.
But to get this opportunity.
Oh.
I'll make it easier. What's great about you? Was there something great about you when God found you?
I mean, nothing. I mean,
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not an insult.
I think you could maybe argue that he's a descendant of Noah, you know, like,
yeah.
But
yeah. Consistently through the Bible, God uses people without any renown.
Yeah.
Including the entire nation of Israel.
Sure.
Including you and I. All of us.
Yeah.
Just consistently. And I've mentioned this a number of times, but in your opinion, and scripture actually says why, but why do you think?
So he gets the glory.
Right. To show God's glory. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not because you and I can do things.
Yeah.
This has always been his plan.
Yeah, for sure.
From the very beginning was, hey, I'm going to put you here and here's your job. Go do this. And it's going to bring you, in doing your job, you're going to find joy. You're going to find contentment. You're going to find, he gave you the job that is the very reason you were made. I mean, the fundamental thing. So it's to me pretty cool, the unification, how this thing kind of fits together. But there appears to be nothing great or amazing about Abram at this point. We see things, the way he responds and stuff, that we go, but we've actually needed instruction to point that out to us, that, oh, that's how you're supposed to respond to God. It's his response that is the instruction to us on how to do it. And so it's kind of a circular reasoning, but that's it. Is God? Abram just said, okay. How do we know he said okay? Because he got up and left the very next day. He just got everybody together and he started taking action. So at this point, God is the one who's going to restore the relationship, fix the problem, return to Eden is this process. And not just the physical location of Eden, guys, but the intent of Eden. Yeah. Okay. So, and in this, God says to Abram in verse 2, the second part of verse 2, I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. So we've got Babel saying, we will make our name great. And now we've got God saying, I will make your name great. It's not that being great, being known, being significant is utterly unimportant. It's the route that happens. It's whether it's God doing it, God speaking, or you and I doing it.
Yeah.
This is actually one of the challenges of pastors, isn't it? Where we call it our ego and things like that, but I think it's more profound and deeper set. Again, ego is a good word. It kind of does some of the work. Yeah. But I think even an ego concept and conversation, there's ego involved in it, in that I think that if you tell me my ego's too big, I'm going to try and, if I'm trying to be responsive to that, I'm going to scale back my ego. I'm going to do work on here. And this is also me managing my own knownness. And this idea that God says, I will make your name great. You do the steps that I am telling you, and by its very nature, you will become this is the plan I have for you. Just do what I'm telling you to do.
Wow.
And significance, both internally and externally, happens in our response and obedience to God. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Because this is what happened with Abram. This is literally the story. This is some of the greatest teaching when you go, well, this sentence says this, and I'm not ripping it out and saying this says this, so then. No, I'm saying in context. This is using the stuff all around it, going, oh, they're using the exact same words they were before, only there's different objects and subjects of these sentences. And you go, oh, wow, okay, those are connected, and it's awesome. And the takeaway from it is that's super profound and unbelievably simple.
Yeah.
And so very cool. Any thoughts so far? I'm by its nature, I'm talking a lot, but
No,
You're good.
I think
Something
think
that's
it's
kind
good.
of something that's kind of like popping up for me just as you're talking, and this might be a good, maybe better suited in like a partnership with the story of Joseph, of when you are obedient to what God has told you to do, yet it conflicts with the people around you. Then the message from Joseph's brothers are, look how arrogant you are, but God literally did tell him these things, gave him that promise, gave him that dream. Yet there was a conflict of the belief of those around them that were also close descendants of Abraham, who should and receive a promise and became tribes and all these things from here. But there's an interesting thing that I don't know if and maybe this is just going to be the lifelong journey of dealing with humanity, including myself, is parsing when someone is truly feeling the call of God, and one for yourself, like to sift through that and understand that it is God who's called you, and then to be obedient as quick as possible. And quick as possible is not lost opportunity. It's just a belief and a faithfulness like Abram has to just do, despite everything that would tell you not to do. But then also just like, I'm really big into mental health, and there's things that I deal with on a part of like what I have. I don't talk about it a lot, but I have bipolar depression, and so if I am not regulated and thinking clearly, what I believe is true is absolutely not. What's true is that I feel it, but it doesn't mean that that's what it is. And so I'm always struck by both the boldness and faithfulness and belief and obedience that Abram has in this story. I'm also then struck with how do you know that that's it? And unless it's the booming voice of God, which we don't get that in this story. We get God told him, we don't know how or why. We don't it's just, hey, here's Abram, and this is what it is. So I might be voicing out some of my inner monologue, but I can imagine maybe there's people that are listening today and go, great, good for Abram, and it works out for him. This is not meant to be a tangent, but it's attached to this, I promise. But I've always kind of had that thought when you're on like a road trip and you drive through a small town and you go, people live here, like people have their whole lives here, and I just drove through it in 5 minutes. I drove through your whole life in 5 minutes. Which is insane to think about, like in that scale, and then I'm never going to think about you again. In that, like I go, what stories what people in the Bible did God do this first and they didn't respond like Abram did? Like, what was there? Was there a Bob before Abram? And God came to Bob and said, Bob, leave your father's land, go into the wilderness and all the stuff. And Bob went, I don't even know who you are. You know, like, and so we read the stories of like the winners and stuff like that, but man, how many people like in the sifting through that. And so anyways, I know that's a wild tangent to the topic that you're bringing out here today, but that's the thing that kind of runs through my head is to bring in the oddness of the story, is the scale of what we're talking about. Is how do you even figure that out? Like, I don't know. Like, we're to the best of our ability. You know, we Ryan and yeah, Dad, Greg, you all of us have left well-paying jobs in churches to go take our families to places that are not safe. How did you know that that was the right choice? And I can guarantee, because I know both of your stories and you guys know a little bit of mine, I'm second guessed at every step of the way. I'm just going, I don't think I'm Abram. Like, I have no like, and I'm doing the Lord's work. I'm like, I felt like God was saying, this is your calling, follow, obey at a great sacrifice. And you're going to bring your kids and your wife and your friends along in that sacrifice. And so then take care of them well and do your best. And it's just like, anyways, I know I'm blowing it up a little bit, but the scale of this story is important. These first few verses of obedience. Yeah. I don't have a question.
You're muted, Greg.
We don't have yeah, absolutely. We don't have a ton of time, so I don't want to go too far down it, but trying to figure out what are in that question, is this relevant? And I go, I think it is. It's an example. We see a number of other examples of it being done correctly and examples of being done incorrectly. And I think Saul would be an example of incorrect, where the call of his people and the call and the anointing of God said, go do this, and specific instructions that weren't followed specifically. And it's a breakdown of obedience, of response. Whereas we see Abram responding correctly. He makes some weird choices along the way, but they're never off the directions that he's given. And so for me, quickly is, well, how did I know I was supposed to come to Bellevue, Nebraska after Salt Lake City? And Eric might remember this conversation, but we were in our kitchen and just saying, we don't know where we're going next. What I know, and one of them said, I'm emotional, but one of them asked the question, well, does that mean you're not going to be a pastor anymore? And I said, oh, no. If we're pastors, that doesn't mean, that has nothing to do with what our job is. If this is who we were made to be, that doesn't change. And so what I personally follow is the initial, what I think of as a call. And that's an overused term, but for me, it was the initial, this is what I know I'm supposed to do. And it doesn't matter, caring for people. For me specifically, explaining some of this difficult stuff in ways that are able to be understood, in ways that are unified with the whole story. Basically using the way I was made, in the particular way I was made, and the passions I have to help people connect to the fundamental hope that I was given. And so it becomes really simple. And so when I didn't have a job as a pastor, still I was able to actually go to school and prep myself even more to do it. And so there's blessings and challenges there and everything else. But I think following that, making sure that initial thing, unless God has said something different, then you do that. But I also think there's sensible logical preparations that agree with that call. We all know Axton and Katie Tregeser, who a couple of years ago, out of the blue, both had a sense that they were supposed to be missionaries, and they were not in a place. They were following God, but just churchgoers, and no sense of real life calling. They knew they wanted to be faithful to God, and so this was a new but very particular call. And ever since then, that clarity has changed their entire trajectory of life. And so they're going through the very hard process of raising money so that they can go on the missions field. They've had to go through training, and if you spoke to them before, neither of them are going to go, oh, I'm an academic, or I just naturally want to learn everything. Or no, they're going through the hard work of becoming what is needed where they're going. And so for Abram, that application, I go, he didn't just, he got everybody together. He still had to have, we've still got to walk all these animals everywhere. We've still got to let everybody know that we're going. We've still got to organize every step that we take. We're going to go do the nomadic herdsman lifestyle in our obedience. And this was the expectation. It wasn't, Abram, leave everything you have responsibility for and care less about them and let them die. It was, no, Abram took everybody with him in this response. And so there are weird ideas we sometimes attach to things, that God is being unreasonable and stuff. And there may be times that it seems unreasonable, but even when you get to possibly the most unreasonable thing of, Abram, take your son, your only son, the son whom you love, like he's rubbing salt in the wound, and go sacrifice him. We're like, that's the most insane thing. It is, but you're forgetting the last decades of Abram spending life with God, and not calculating that in to the thing. And because that doesn't, let me say, I don't think that justifies the choice. It just gives at least some background and context for it. So anyway, so the blessing, and we'll kind of move through this. God says, I'll make you into a great nation. I'll bless you. I'll make your name great. Excuse me. And you will be a blessing. The blessing of God makes you a blessing, ideally. And that can get lost in our current world some, I think. But I will bless those who bless you, and curse, and whoever curses you, I will curse. This is a different version of it. In the NLT, it was those who show you contempt. Basically, people who don't think you're people, I'm going to make sure that you're safe. I know you're traveling and you're moving from a place of maybe security to insecurity, but I'm on your side. So, and so it's in this, how is God going to treat Abram? He's going to make him into a great nation. This is stating about his future. I will bless you. Your name will be great. You'll be established by God, not by yourself. How will this affect you? The result will be, you will be a blessing. And how will others be affected by you? If they come against you, they come against God. If they support you, it's as if they were supporting God, and he will bless them accordingly. And we see that regularly. You take care of the people that God, we talked about this in Ruth, right? You take care of the people that God is taking care of, and you're buying directly into his heart. And all the peoples of the earth will be blessed through you. We are here today because of this decision.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible. So Abram went, and we've talked about it and noticed it. Sometimes this can be missed, but without him just leaving, there's no man of faith. There's no great man of faith. The next verse after this is, after the order and the blessing of God, so Abraham went. Verse 4, as the Lord told him. Verses 2 and 3 are God initiating this relationship. Verse 4 is Abraham giving his answer to God's invitation. He didn't say, God, I'll do that. He went and did it. Yep. And so my summary is, and I did this on my podcast too, is God saying, hey, you, follow me.
Yeah.
If I put it that way, what is that? Does that remind you of anything in the rest of Scripture?
Yeah. Jesus calling his disciples.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yep. I think this is amazing. I think this is the first call to disciple.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
Yeah. So Matthew
that.
4, Jesus is walking beside the Sea of Galilee. He sees two brothers, Simon and Peter, his brother Andrew. They were casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. And verse 19, come follow me, Jesus said, and I will send you out to fish for people.
Fishers of men.
And at once, listen, verse 20, at once they left their nets and followed him.
Yeah, triggers thoughts of this
Yeah.
for sure.
This is, to me, this is Abram. This is the response. This is the response God is looking for from people. This is David's type of response,
Yeah.
right? God says, do this. David goes, does it. Does he need to get tempered? Does he need to get led? Does he need to learn? Does he make mistakes? Yep, 100%. And especially the mistakes, the literal sins, they're not justified. This doesn't make it okay.
Right.
The call of God does not make it okay for you to do anything. The weight of pressure. We had a famous guy a few years ago die, and then we discover the way he felt sometimes, apparently, the weight of pressure on his life justified certain things that were immoral. The weight on it does not justify it, but it doesn't mean also that we're now perfect. Being called does not make every choice you make sanctified.
Yeah.
It means you're simply called. In that, be a blessing.
Yeah.
Don't use what God has given us to diminish the world around us, where we are agents of the return, of helping bring this return. We're not the returners, though. We are simply people who have said yes to God and hopefully have stepped out in obedience. So, so I think everybody that gets Jesus is calling people to come and be his disciples, and most assume that he just got that from rabbis. And I do think that is true. I think the style at the time and everything else, but I think God is the first one doing it, and he did it with Abram. I'm going to teach you how to live. I'm going to teach you how to obey. I'm going to teach you how this new thing, this flip thing, is supposed to be, how the world is supposed to work. And I'm going to use you and your life as an example and a story to teach everybody else going forward.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So
I like that a lot.
To me, this is the call of Abram, and the reason I talked about it.
Yeah, really quick. I just want to add a thought, and then we can get out of here.
Great.
About us making ourselves great, or our name great, as opposed to God doing it. Think about. I heard a missionary once preach a sermon about God's power, and he said this, and I'll never forget it. He said, God will not continue to trust you with his power unless he knows he can trust you with his glory. Meaning, like, that he's going to get all the credit, right? Yeah. And I think about I'm going to make your name great, as opposed to I'm going to make my own name great. Well, if I trust God, I love God, everything I do is about making him famous, why wouldn't he make my name great? Why wouldn't he want me to be a big deal? Because I'm going to make him an even bigger deal, And so, like, I think what you said, Greg, about greatness is not a bad thing. It's not, but it's like, what's the motivation for it? Do you want your own name to be great, or do you have a bigger mission in mind? And I think that's what this is about. Like, God found somebody who's willing to give him the glory and willing to obey and make God the big deal, And so I was like, all right, I can work with that. So
I like that. One of the prayers that I still pray today over our church is to the kind of the greatness thing, because I aspirationally, I love the idea of being able to say something that helps people, write something, or preach a message that draws people closer to God in the same way messages or books have brought me to that. But also, as a church, I love to see effective churches that really are the community that God called us to be. And one of the things that my wife and I, we prayed over our church, and again still do today, is God never allow us to grow outside of our maturity. And I think to the greatness, the tempering of greatness is not simply just humility, but it's maturity. And what we see Abram about to go through, is a maturing process, a discipleship process, like you just said, of,
Yeah.
all right, we're going to cut a lot of things. We're going to cut some, like, yes, this looks like a whole lot of obedience, but we're going to have to cut some doubt out of your life, because what I'm about to ask you to do once I give you your son is I'm going to need you not to doubt. I'm going to need you to believe. And so I would say for anybody who's listening and feel the sense of a greatness that God wants to use in you, God bless. Like, get ready for some difficulty, but also submit yourself to the pruning process of maturity. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so good. And this is also when we look at the one we talked about a number of weeks ago, him before meeting with the angels and Yahweh before they go to Sodom and Gomorrah. Why I think of that conversation as a disciple conversation is, why should we hold this back? Let's let him know. And then Abraham responds in the way that God, it seems it agrees with God's character and what we know of God's character, what we believe about it. And this is Abram displaying, oh, I've grown. I understand what you're trying to do here. His very questions agree with the heart of God. And so what I wrote here is, you don't need, and this agrees with stuff you've already said, but you don't need to make your own name. I'll give you one, which is revelation, right?
Yeah.
The very end. You don't need to build your own way to heaven. Babel. I've made a way.
Yeah.
All you need to do is keep getting up and move when God tells you to move.
Yeah.
And if you're somewhere and God hasn't told you to move, then be faithful where you're at. But it's really hard. Believe me, absolutely. And I'm not blowing that off. I'm saying it absolutely is. And years from now, you'll look back and go, wow, I grew. Do you want to go through that again? No, I don't want to go through famine and all this other stuff. Did I make mistakes? Yeah. Those before us did them too. They're not justified. They're not okay, but they are. God does have you. And by justified, I don't mean theologically. I mean, does it make what you did okay? No. That's not the point of them. It's that we keep being obedient to God. And if we can have the type, to jump forward, have the type of humility that says, okay, I hear what you're saying. Let's move forward. So relationship from God comes from that. You and I obeying what it tells us to do. And those acts of obedience are the actual acts of faith. We've believed God, and so we act.
Yeah.
The actions don't make us okay with God. The belief, the only thing that can happen with belief. I used to illustrate this with firecrackers, that they don't blow up, hopefully, until you light them. But the natural thing, once I light this thing, it's going to blow up. That's what they do. When I am instigated by God, my response is obedience. My response is faithfulness. These are how do I know if I'm not responding? When my obedience to the original call is off, when my faithfulness is off. We talk about doubt. Abram doubted. He wasn't sure about what God's plan was. And he talked to God. And he was honest to God. And he let God speak to him in those situations.
Yeah.
And it took decades for what he saw as the fulfillment of a promise to actually show up. Our faithfulness is not momentary. It's not. It's not to get. It's trusting God, and trusting God even in the getting.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it.
Yeah, that's good. Good.
Love it.
Good episode, Greg. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks.
All right, guys, if you're enjoying the Odd Testament podcast, we'd love your support. And there's a few ways you can do that. First, take a moment to rate and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps more people discover us. So 5-star rating. Let us know in the reviews what you think. Hopefully it's not too bad for you. Next, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We drop new episodes every single Monday. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, notification bell, whatever you need to do to make sure you stay up to date on our latest content. And then finally, follow us on social media for updates, highlights, interact with us there, answer our getting to know you questions. Let us know what you think of we would love to talk about what you want to talk about. So interact with us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all those good places. So your support means the world to us, and together we can keep bringing this odd content to the world. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see
Woo!
you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.